Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, as the title of this video says, I am going to chat a little bit with you guys about running. So, I'm just getting comfortable here. So, I get asked a lot of questions all the time by you guys in regards to running. So obviously, when I started this whole journey, I was still a bigger girl. So I started running when I was at around about 160 kilos. So, you know, obviously it wasn't easy at all, but I did it. And that's almost, it's a miracle. Like I was very heavy, and so that was a lot of toll on my joints. But like I said, I did it, and here I am today. You know, I'm about to run 42.2 kilometers after swimming ridiculous and riding ridiculous, and then I'm gonna go and do a full marathon on top of all of that. So, you know, to go from where I was to where I am today, it's taken an immense amount of hard work. Immense amount. So yeah, I guess I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the run side of triathlon, and because I know that it's a topic that a lot of people who were or are in the situation that I once was can't comprehend, and I totally get that. I totally understand, because I was there. You know, I know. So I guess the best way to approach this topic would really be to take it back to the start. So when I first started running, like I said, I was around about 160 kilos. So I was quite heavy. And I was going from a point where I couldn't really walk 100 meters without being exhausted to, hey, I'm gonna run. So, I mean, that in itself it's massive. I mean, definitely takes determination. You have to be determined. You have to have a focus. I feel like having a focus for me is everything. So I had a focus of Julia Creek Dirt and Dust. And so that was my focus, to keep me going. I had set that goal, and I was going to go out and achieve it. The Dirt and Dust triathlon, the run in that was a 5K run. So I was going from nothing to running 5Ks, basically. I had approximately 4 months. So I started learning to run in January. And April was when Julia Creek Dirt and Dust Festival was on. So, you know, I had a little bit of time up my sleeves. Basically, I started out by, first of all, just walking around an oval. I started on an oval. So I would walk around the oval, you know, a couple of times until I was comfortable and I wasn't out of breath. And then I moved it up a little bit. So I would try and run for about 30 seconds. And at first I couldn't even make the full 30 seconds of running. I would end up having to walk a little bit. So that was my goal for a little bit, was to try and run for 30 seconds non-stop, over and over. So basically, 30 seconds, the aim was 30 seconds running and a minute walking. At first, I was only able to run maybe 20 seconds, but at times not even that. Until I built myself up, and I was able to make it to the 30 seconds. So then it was more of a focus on being able to run the 30 seconds, walk for a minute, and then start running again for 30 seconds, because that was an issue as well. I was finding that very hard. But over time, it became easier and easier. So when I say over time, I'm talking maybe could be up to 2 weeks, until from when I first started practicing my running to when I was able to do a couple of laps of the oval running for 30 seconds and then walking for a minute. Once I was comfortable doing that, I changed it up a little bit more. So I changed it up to trying to run for a minute and walk for a minute. So again, couldn't quite make the whole minute at first. So it was my aim to try and make it to the minute. I was making it to maybe 40 seconds just, but eventually I was making it to the minute. So then it was the focus on making it to the minute, having a minute's rest, and then running for another minute, because again, the rest I was still struggling with. I hadn't caught my breath back, my heart rate hadn't dropped enough yet to keep running. So, but eventually I got there, and eventually I was running for a minute and walking for a minute. And once I could do that, a couple of laps of the oval again, doing that, I then changed it up a bit more to kept the run at a minute, but dropped the rest time back to 30 seconds. So I was going for a minute run and then dropping back to 30 seconds. So it was hard at first. Again, dropping that rest time back was incredibly hard. But eventually I got there in the end, and before I knew it, I was running for a minute and walking for 30 seconds. So 30-second recovery to a minute running. And so from there, once I'd done that a couple of times and was able to do that around the oval a couple of times, I then tried to drop it back so I could, I had troubles in saying this. So I could drop it back. I was trying to drop it back from a minute run and no walking. So no running, just continuously running. I couldn't do that straight away. So instead of then focusing on the minute 30 seconds sort of thing, I then started to focus a little bit more on my distances. So I started to go, righto, I know that I can run for a minute straight. I know I can do that, and I know I can get approximately this far. It's not fast. It was more of a shuffle. You see photos of me running now and photos of me running then. At some points, both feet are off the ground when I'm running now, but back then there was always feet on the ground. So it was more of a shuffle. I called it my shuffle, and I was shuffling for quite a while. I shuffled at Julia Creek, but I was still doing more than walking. It was faster than walk pace. So back to what I was saying before. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. So, like I said, I knew I was able to run for a minute, and I could do the walk for 30 seconds. So I wanted to start to work a bit more on, how far I can cover in the run, and then I'll have a recovery walk for a little bit. So, I think I worked it out at first that if I could run for say 50 meters or more. So I was, that was kind of my aim, 50 meters or more. And I had marks, so I didn't quite know where 50 meters was, but on this oval I had particular landmarks along the way. So basically I was like, right, if I can run to this point, and then I can stop and walk from here to here, say this pole to this pole, and then I can run again from that pole to that pole. And eventually it kind of just progressed from there. So the walk time kind of shortened a bit. Before I knew it, I was able to run a whole lap of the oval, no problems at all. Well, shuffle a whole lap of the oval, no problems at all. I was buggered by the end. I'd get to the end of a lap and be like, oh my gosh. So then that was the next thing that I kind of focused on. I would do a whole lap of the oval, and then I would start walking for a little bit. Maybe do half a lap walking, and then another whole lap. So I would try and do that a couple of times and just try and bring back the walk and make the run a little longer each time. So, I kind of just, there's no set rule. And in saying this is what worked for me, and this is how I did it. you might be totally different. You know, everyone's different. Everybody achieves things at different rates, and so on and so forth. So this is how I did it, and this is what worked for me. And before I knew it, I could run 2 kilometers non-stop. And that guys, that is exactly how I started running. Running is in no way, or never was my favorite part of triathlon at all. And I can't say that it is today, but I definitely can say that I do enjoy going out for runs. So for example, this morning I had, today's Sunday, and it was a training run for me this morning. It was only an hour and 15, and I went out there and I absolutely enjoyed it. You know, some days there is nothing better than getting out there amongst the wilderness, outdoors, and amongst it all. You know, you've got the smells, the noises, the views. Maybe not so much the noises, because I do listen to music, but the views, and especially my run this morning, it was beautiful. And then you listen to music that makes you happy. So, you know, I am very particular with my playlists when it comes to my runs. On certain days, I might feel more like certain playlists, you know. So I have a couple of different run playlists that I use depending on my mood and how I'm feeling. And, you know, some runs that I go out for training, I might need a little more encouraged than other days. And so I may have more pump me up sort of music. But I definitely feel like your playlist is a huge part of helping with your run. Anyway, guys, that is all I wanted to chat with you about today. I really do hope that helps. Like I said, I got questions all the time. Every day I get questions about the run, because it is hard, especially when you're at the point where I was at, you know, not that long ago. So, guys, thank you so much for watching my video. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, and check me out on my other social media platforms. I will link them down below. And also, if you love this hat, this is T0 Multisports. This is who I train through. My coach Emma from T0, she's amazing. You can purchase these hats on the T0 website. Again, I will put a link to their shop down below. These are their trucker hats. You will see me wearing this all the time, including, and the socks. The socks. I love my T0 socks. I'm pretty sure everyone knows this because almost every photo that I've got my T0 socks on. So, I mean, I do. I love pink. I mean, who couldn't be happier in pink? Really? All right, guys. Thanking you so much again, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much. Peace.